everybody, my name is Troy. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about Jurassic World Rebirth. This is my review of the film. Got the chance to see it last night on opening night. And I want to share my thoughts as I think it's a big step forward for the Jurassic Park, Jurassic World franchise. Now, I was a little skeptical coming into this movie because the last two installments, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom and Jurassic World Dominion, weren't very great. I really loved the first Jurassic World movie that came out in 2015. I thought it was such a great step for the franchise after there wasn't any movies made for quite some time, almost 20 years, I believe. And so it was really cool to see them take these big step forwards with that Jurassic World, and things kind of fell off in the last two films after that. And so when this was announced as a kind of reboot of sorts, I was a little skeptical about how much left was in the tank for this franchise. And I thought the casting of this movie was really great, led by Scarlett Johansson, Mahershala Ali, and Jonathan Bailey. And so I was interested and intrigued about what they could do with this cast, what story they could tell. And the trailer seemed interesting enough that I was like, let's go check it out. All right, I'm hopeful. Let's see what this movie's about. And like I said at the top, it is a big step forward in the franchise for the future of Jurassic World and what they want to do. Now, the idea behind the movie, there'll be some spoilers ahead, is that and you can kind of see this in the trailer too, is that they want to get some DNA from 3 dinosaurs specifically that they believe could help with the longevity of human life, curing heart disease and things like that. And so they're hunting for 3 specific dinosaurs to take blood samples from in the tropical areas in hopes of, again, just finding advancements in medicine to do these things. Now, I want to start with the things that really worked for me in this movie, things that I really enjoyed. First off, the action scenes with the dinosaurs is, in my opinion, some of the best in the franchise. It's significantly better than the last 2 installments. It's really good. And what really helped was the fact that they created these new dinosaurs for this movie. They're kind of these hybrid dinosaurs. They cross DNA, they created dinosaurs, and they kind of explain that in the movie as ways to keep the excitement or interest up in the parks, because the US at the time, or the world at the time, has lost interest in these creatures. And so they developed these offsite in hopes of rejuvenating interest in the park. And so I thought it was really helpful for them to do that, because some of these dinosaurs are pretty terrifying. They're pretty scary and unique in what they could do. Like there's a T-Rex that can swim. The big bad of sorts of the dinosaurs in this movie is called the D-Rex. That interesting enough kind of looks like a Star Wars creature that we see, a Rancor that we see in the Book of Boba Fett and other projects in the Star Wars universe. There's also some other types of dinosaurs, like some pterodactyl types as well as brontosaur types that you see in the trailer that are pretty terrifying what they're able to do with these advancements. And so I thought it was really clever for them to do that, because it did heighten the stakes some of, oh, this isn't just a normal T-Rex. This could be something more than that. And so I was really appreciative of that. I think it was a really good choice on their part. It was also great to have the score back. Jonathan Williams' iconic score that Michael Giacchino replicated in the Jurassic World movies in their trilogy. It was really cool to see that big swelling moment that we see about halfway through. It was a really cool scene. It was classic Jurassic Park, Jurassic World. And I couldn't help but smile the entire time this scene was playing out, with just the big theme going on in the background. It was a really, really cool moment. I also think the CGI looked really good for this movie. The dinosaurs looked incredible. The sets looked great in the jungle. It was a really cool job that they did bringing these creatures to life, bringing this area to life. And it just played out very well. I was really pleased with how they handled that. I think the plot also sets up some future interesting ways they could go if they wanted to continue this series. So the movie ends with them getting all 3 samples and wanting to give it to the general medical world, and not just this private company, to develop these vaccines, to develop this medicine, to increase the longevity of human life. And so I think there's some interesting dynamics there that they could explore with, hey, if this works, and maybe we see more of these creatures going forward, maybe there's a newfound appreciation for these animals and what they can offer us as humans. And so I'm really curious to see how this does. I know the reception's been kind of mixed, but I think box office it should do pretty well. But I'm really interested to see how they can move forward with this story if they decide to do that based on how this movie ends. Now we're going to call this part the not so good. I don't want to say bad, because it may work for other people, but these parts of the movie just didn't really work well for me. And the unfortunate reality is that I just could not relate with the characters. I think they fell a little flat. There's a family in this movie that, like, it was just really difficult to work with, to relate to. There was one character, a boyfriend of one of the kids, who was really there for comedic relief, and I just didn't relate to that humor. It just didn't work for me, but it worked for other people. There was a lot of people in my theater who were eating it up, and so I was appreciative that they enjoyed it, but it just didn't work for me. I think what really struggled with these characters is that it really brought down a sense of stakes of who is going to make this movie, who's going to make it out of this movie alive, because they kind of follow the same formula of other Jurassic Park movies, Jurassic World movies, where you know who's going to make it, who's not going to make it. You know which characters are going to die. There's that kind of evil antagonistic character who you know is going to get eaten by a dinosaur. And so that did take the stakes down quite a bit for me, and because it came a little bit predictable on how the movie was going to end. For some people, they want to see these dinosaurs cause havoc and eat people alive. That's what they want to see, and this does that. And I think you'll enjoy that if you're into that sort of thing. But for me, who likes a little bit of interest and mystery and intrigue about the story, I was hopeful that there maybe be a little bit of a twist in there to keep me on the edge of my seat. But unfortunately, there was not. There's also some exposition moments of the plot that didn't quite work for me, that took me out. A lot of them happened early on. I will say the first third of the movie I wasn't really a fan of, but then once we got the action sequences, it really picked up a lot for me, and I really started to enjoy it from there. But for example, there's some title scrawl, some text that goes across the screen to give you an idea of what's going on in the world, and then it was immediately regurgitated in the first scene with Scarlett Johansson, and so I didn't think we really needed it, but nonetheless, they put it in there. But I do think this movie is worth seeing. I definitely think it's worth checking out if you love dinosaurs, if you love this world, and I think you will love this movie. Despite it not being perfect, it is pretty entertaining. Like I said, the action sequences were pretty tense. There's a pretty tense scene in which that T Rex is swimming underwater and interacting with their family. Where you're like, this is pretty crazy. And so I think if you enjoy those things, you will enjoy this movie overall. And again, it's just worth seeing. It's worth seeing. It's a lot of fun. It's a good kind of like, hey, turn your brain off, enjoy the action. The plot's not super dense. It's not super hard to follow. And so I think it's definitely worth checking out. And overall, it's pretty enjoyable. But in terms of my ranking score, I would give Jurassic World Rebirth probably a 7 out of 10, somewhere around there. I give it a 3.5 for my letterbox. And I think that's pretty fair. And so pretty middle of the road. But again, I think it sets up a potentially exciting future for this franchise if they decide to move forward with it. But what did you think of Jurassic World Rebirth if you got a chance to see it this week? Let me know in the comments. Curious to know your thoughts, if you enjoyed it, what you loved about it. Maybe if you didn't, what maybe could have been improved for you. But leave a like, subscribe if you're interested in seeing more of these reviews and videos like this or other stuff on my channel. But as always, guys, have fun at the movies.